The goal's always been to get to 6,000 affordable units by 2028, and we're still squarely focused on that. In addition to that, contrary to the belief of some, we spent a significant amount of time and resources over the years working to decommission encampments in responsible ways. So far, the city, actually, in just the last year, check before I came in, has removed over 1 million pounds of debris and trash and those types of things, while at the same time making sure that the individuals who were in those encampments are connected to housing and on their way to a better life. There are responsible ways to do the things that Kevin Stitt has talked about, and we've been doing those things both in this administration and in the administration previously. And it's exactly what every community that really wants to address this issue from a root cause standpoint and an aggressive standpoint, that's how everybody does it. I'll also just state really clearly, going way back to the executive order that I signed back in March, the goal has always been to increase shelter capacity so we can make sure we can responsibly get people off of the streets. The goal has always been invest in ourselves in affordable housing. The goal has always been to decommission encampments and make sure we are mitigating evictions. We are top 10 in the country in evictions, the last I checked, I believe. And until we get a handle on that, we're going to continue to go in the wrong direction. Want to just also obviously mention what the events over the last several days. A couple things I'll say about that. I did have a conversation with the governor a couple weeks ago. In that conversation, I asked the governor to support us in a couple different ways. One of those ways was to help support us in finding places for people to go. The other was to really talk about ways the state could invest in our city and in Oklahoma City and every city across the state that's feeling the effects of homelessness. Tulsa is not the only city. Tulsa is the only target. Tulsa is not the only city that's feeling the effects of homelessness, which is the reason why we have such a comprehensive way in which we're working to meet this challenge. What I got from the governor was maybe somewhat in the well wishes, and then I got a press release about the Highway Patrol coming in to clean out encampments. And a couple things that I've heard from providers. I was just at the day center earlier today. I'll actually be meeting with providers on Wednesday here in the mayor's office. But what I heard is a lot of the things that were promised are not necessarily the case. What I heard was folks have been given 24 hours notice. That is not the case. What I heard is that OHP was going to transport people to find the service they're looking for. That is not the case. What I heard is people have times to collect their belongings, but what we are starting to find is people have had their IDs and their paperwork taken from them, making the opportunity to house them a lot more difficult. I mention all this because we would have been in a position to work with the state of Oklahoma to do this responsibly in a coordinated way had the governor reached out to us about it. We would have explained to him some of the difficulties that exist. He did not do that, and so folks are displaced. And what happens when you do that, and this is true in every part of the country, is you create a very tense and potentially dangerous environment in a city because you've essentially put people in crisis mode that have already spent some time in crisis mode. You undermine public safety in a city when you do things like this. I am certainly frustrated, but I'm also very much deeply committed to continuing down the road of making sure we address this problem in what I believe to be a proactive way, what I believe to be a way based on best practice and evidence. And we're going to continue to invest ourselves that way here in Tulsa. We're going to continually stay disciplined. We're going to band together, and we are going to get to functional zero homelessness in a sustainable way. Progress sometimes is not as fast as some people would like for it to be. But progress does not look like a bunch of Instagram and Twitter videos that frankly tell not even half of the story. What I have seen over the last couple days does not seem like the behavior of someone responsible for the things a governor is responsible for. And so if nothing else, I hope that maybe the governor will listen to some of the stories, understand the impact, maybe actually, understand how this issue is impacting other communities. And so Tulsa's not just a target, but Tulsa's part of a broader solution. I guarantee you, if anybody in this room were to reach out to someone who's an expert in the field and they asked, what should cities be doing to end homelessness in their community, you're going to hear they ought to be doing things like the Safe Move initiative. You will hear that if you're going to decommission campus, this is the way that you do it. You do it the way that we've done it with our law enforcement community, with the fire department, with mental health providers, with housing solutions, with folks who are actually going to be there to ensure that people can get to places to improve their lives. That's how we do it here. That's different than maybe how it's thought about in the state of Oklahoma. And I will just say there's been a lot of folks that have asked me about the political side of this, the partisan side of this. And one thing I'll double down on is that you don't just have to ask me. I saw comments from Sheriff Regalado, who's Republican. He said you can't incarcerate your way out of this problem. I've talked to a number of my former colleagues in the legislature who all agree. If you go back and look what states like Utah have done, Republican governor, Republican legislature invested $66 million into homelessness because they understand that root causes matter. Not for nothing, the Tulsa Chamber will be going to Salt Lake City to see how Salt Lake City has had so much success. One of the things they will learn is they met the moment on this issue with resources, with best practices that address root cause issues, and for those reasons, a community of business leaders from Tulsa will be going to Utah to understand how do you get there on this issue and so many others.